Don Lemon and Chris Cuomo spoke about the events at George H.W. Bush's funeral, and you're about to see the level of conversation that these guys are stuck on. It's not sophisticated, it's not deep, it's not intelligent, and it's honestly pretty embarrassing. Take a look.
The Obamas are really classy folks, because I don't know if I could be so if we can put that up.
It's hard for them to not want to look at us the whole time.
No.
So the Obamas, what did you see that you want people to be reminded of?
I want to say that I don't think I would shake hands with them. I don't know. I would just, nope, couldn't do it. I'm not that big a person. I would hope that I would be, but I don't. I can't fake the funk, as they say. I'm not saying the Obamas did that, but there they go, right there.
Oh, I don't think it's about faking the funk. I think it's about showing respect for something bigger than them.
Why would they do it when he doesn't? But I understand what you're saying.
Come on, that's not the measure.
No, that's not. But they show. What are you talking about, Chris? They showed respect for the office.
Yes.
The way they conducted themselves in office. No scandal. There was no trash. There was no affair. There was.
Amen.
They showed the ultimate respect for the office. They do not have to show respect for someone who does not respect them. Someone who tweets out pictures of them behind bars of the president's. You don't have to show respect for that kind of person. Here, let me show you what I would have done.
You don't have to.
Let me show you. I want to show you something.
You don't
let me show you what
have to.
I would have done. Okay, come here. Come here, Dom. Come here, Dom. Try to shake
poor
my
Don.
hand. Try to go.
You're petty and small.
I'm not petty and small. That's real, brother. That's real. And
real
it
petty
shows
and
you
small.
this is not, nope, it's not. This is not about ideology. This is about the way someone conducts himself. If you constantly called me names and you were rude to me and you did petty, why should I have to show you respect at all?
I'm sending you a poem.
You're not showing me respect. I don't care about poems.
I'm going to recite
I'm
a
talking
poem
about
to you.
reality.
Yeah, I know, but you know what? Poetry is reality. You know, there's a beauty to life that sometimes transcends what's obvious and angry in the moment. And what you saw with the Obamas
are beautiful people.
And they showed that today because Donald
yeah,
Trump,
they did.
Donald Trump cast them out. He said they were less than. He threw aspersions on Obama that were completely calculated to dehumanize him, to play to bigotries. And that's the truth. That's what the birther movement was about. That's all it was about. That's what it was always about.
And you want me to shake your hand?
They showed that love and their decency and respect wins. And they brought him in even though he tried to keep them out. Well, and that is the greatness of a man.
That's why he's president and I'm not. Just call me Petty McPetty, because I would not have shaken, and I wouldn't care what the world said if they asked me about it.
You are not taking the rose by the thorns.
I'm not. Again, but though I do have to give, they're a lot classier than I am. I'm just saying I wouldn't. I'm just real. I tell you how it is.
I think the
I'll
instruction
smile
is
at
that
you,
the
but
president,
I don't have to.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean you're always right, or neither am I.
I'm not saying that I'm right.
Exchanges.
I'm just telling you that.
But that's why I'll tell you what the president did that he should have done. He shook Obama's hand. Look, President George W. Bush, again, we've lived these kinds of moments. He is in pain, man. The man who meant the most to him in his life is gone. And we heard from George H.W. Bush that he would have voted for Clinton, or he did vote for Clinton, and they were angry about what this president said about their family, and they are all about family, okay, in a way that I don't even think this president could ever understand. But what did George 43 do? Out of deference to his father, he went in there. It wasn't a long shake. It wasn't a bro hug. There was no word exchange. Shook his hand, moved on, shook his wife's hand, and then brought the love for the Obamas and the Clintons, even though they're not on the political same side. What is that? It was about humanity over party. The president should have done the same. He snubbed the Clintons. And you could say, well, the Clintons were snubbing him. Somebody's got to be bigger, especially in the presidency.
Someone that much, and I talked as much smack, I would not show up at their funeral. Okay? That's reality. Do people you hate, you don't like in real life, who are not in political office, do you show up at your enemy's funeral, Chris?
Key caveat, probably I'm not invited. I don't get invited to a lot of things. I'm not like you, a hail fellow well met. But what I'm saying is it's about respecting the presidency. George H.W. Bush was a president. And it's that you can't be about your own petty grievances. You represent the American people.
I think before
and you should wear that on your sleeve every day.
Office, you respect the person, living or dead. An office is not a human being. I don't think that's respect for the human being if you talk smack about them, if you say the nastiest things about them, if you treat them as subhuman, and then you want to show up at their funeral. Really? Hell.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what.
Who gives a shit? Who cares? Who cares? Who cares? These are CNN hosts in prime time having like a 5-minute conversation about shaking hands. It reminded me of this old quote that I will now proceed to butcher. I'm going to get this so wrong, but this is the spirit of it. It's something like, small minds discuss people, mediocre minds discuss events, great minds discuss ideas. It's something like that. Again, I think I butchered it, but I know the first part is pretty much correct. Small minds discuss people. And that's what they're doing. They're gossiping. These are the gossip girls. They're just, it's all about, I don't like that person, they're mean. Oh yeah? Well, I don't like that other person, they're mean. Well, a big person would shake their hand anyway. Well, keeping it real is not shaking their hand. Are you in grade school? Who gives a shit? Who cares? I like when Chris Cuomo said George W. Bush showed humanity by shaking the hand of Donald Trump. Did he show humanity when he ordered an illegal offensive invasion against a country that didn't attack us, which left minimum 200,000 civilians dead, and he set up a worldwide torture regime? Did that show humanity? I'm just curious. See, they look at U.S. politics like it's a reality show, and to be fair, we do have a reality show president, but they really couldn't care less about the actual policies and what these people do and what they did in office. Because, again, small minds just discuss people. So it's like, Mommy and Daddy went to an event and their people they don't like were there, and should they have shaken their hands? I don't know. What do you think? I don't know either. For once, can you talk about something serious? I like when Don Lemon was like, oh, hell no, he talked shit. Why did he even go to the funeral? You and I know damn well if Trump did not go to that funeral, one of the first segments on Don Lemon's show that night would have been, I can't believe a sitting president didn't go to the funeral of a past president. You know that would have been what he's... See, that's the thing. Damned if you do, damned if you don't. It's just these... And I'm not defending Trump here, but these aren't intelligent people having serious conversations. The whole... Like an argument over shaking hands... I mean, for fuck's sake, listen, I don't care either way. I don't give a shit that, whatever, Trump shook Obama's hands and then snubbed the Clintons and the Clintons snubbed him. I don't care. What really matters to me is, this is the funeral of a president. You should probably be discussing the things that president did, but instead, by the way, whenever they did talk about that president, totally fawning about George H.W. Bush, and again, that shows the lack of seriousness, because where's the real conversation about George H.W. Bush? His policies. What's his actual legacy? What did he really do? What can we learn from that moving forward, and how are we going to talk about it after his death? And of course, you guys, I don't know if you have or haven't seen my segment on that, but you could check out my segment on that. I went through all of George H.W. Bush's record, all the things that struck me as interesting and noteworthy. There were some that were interesting and good, like, for example, when he actually was the last president to seriously stand up to Israel. But then there's also a hell of a lot of bad. I mean, they lied us into the Gulf War, flat out lied. Had, like, an actress lie about Iraqis taking babies out of incubators and letting them die on the floor. Flat out lie. He bombed an air raid shelter on purpose. Over 400 civilians were killed. Now, at that guy's funeral, instead of CNN covering all of this serious policy substance, what are they doing? Bickering like children over whether or not somebody should have shook the hands. I don't care either way. Like, for, what's-his-face, Chris Cuomo, it's all about like, yes, we need to be civil. Let's be civil people. Sure, we're at the funeral of a war criminal, and we're praising him nonstop, but outside of that, we must be civil. It's pretty uncivil to venerate a war criminal, isn't it? But his whole thing is like, let's have decorum at face value, and let's pretend like we're very serious people, even while we do terrible things. And Lemon thinks he's like keeping it real by being like, no, I will not shake your hand because that means I'm taking a moral stand. You know what a moral stand would be, dipshit? I'm not going to go to that guy's funeral because he has blood on his hands of a lot of innocent civilians. That's kind of a moral stand. I mean, that actually is a moral stand. But instead, he's, oh, yes, Obama, so classy for showing up at the war criminal's funeral and shaking the hands of a madman. Yes. This is CNN. This is CNN. And you wonder why the ratings suck. Because, listen, this isn't, like, there's not even the veneer of trying to be objective. They were never objective, to be clear. But there's not even the veneer of trying to be objective now. Just like, hey, let's gossip and talk shit. And that's fine, but, you know, I don't know, maybe don't do it on CNN. Maybe just have a podcast and do it there, where the context of it makes more sense. But no, this is, you know, we're wearing suits and ties, we're serious people. Yes. And now we will proceed to talk for 5 minutes about handshakes and decorum and civility at a war criminal's funeral. Yes.